I really think your name should be in there somewhere. It's the two of us talking. It should be like, I
But
don't
this
know.
is your show. This is why it's called Leonard Show
It's not
Speaks.
my show. It's our show.
It's your show. This is
You're
Leonard.
doing all the work. I can't. It's weird.
How is it weird? This shit, dude. This shit that flies out of your mouth, your philosophies, the stuff that just goes out is like this needs to be shared with the world. I've been hoarding you for 35 fucking years. By the way, this is Leonard Show Speaks, episode number 2, where Leonard Show is given a forum to basically tell everybody how things really are.
How things really are.
You whipped out the Prince knowledge.
I did.
In the last episode. I mean, who
I
knew?
have that.
I didn't know he had a bad hip. I didn't know he was hooked on the perks.
Yeah. Damn shame.
You know, so now this episode is going to be titled Civil War, or maybe Civil Rights, or maybe Civil Wrongs. I don't know yet.
Oh, it is civil. Oh, so right.
Oh, so right. So here's the thing now. If you're clicking on this and you go, we're obviously going to be talking about Civil War. And if you don't want to know anything about Civil War, why in the hell are you clicking on it?
This is not the place for you.
That's, yeah.
You get one warning. This is it. Beyond here be spoilers, mate.
Yeah, I hate
You
that
don't
word.
want to go.
Because he's
There's nothing wrong with the word. No one wants to be spoiled.
But it's, okay, they just, like some guys are going to randomly run down the street and go, they kill the Hulk. No.
Dude, how could you just fucking say that?
There you go. You
No,
clicked on a thing that says Civil War. What do you think we're going to talk about?
I'm giving all the spoilers. Turns out Pepper's a dude. Been a dude. Oh my god.
Right on.
Cap never came out of the ice. Cap has been dead the whole time.
And I heard he's a woman. Or a cross-dresser.
No. That's just because Pepper's a dude. Pepper's a dude. Cap has been dead the whole time. And Sam Wilson and Jim Rhodes are actually the same person.
Separated at birth. Yeah, like I want, like Lost. I'll use Lost as a perfect example. When Lost started, I was like, I want to check out that show, but I'm not going to get Battlestar Galactica again, where you watch the first 2 seasons on DVD and then you gotta wait like a year for the next season to come out. Mm-hmm. So I was like Lost. It went 6 seasons, something like that. I managed to avoid everything. If I read something, heard something, I just ignored it. Like Throne Game. I want to really watch that, but I know it's got probably 2 this season, then 2 more, I think. I've heard a couple of things that I've heard repeatedly, so like Red Wedding is like burned into my brain. I have no idea what it's about. Can only imagine what happens. But other than that, I don't know what a fucking Lancaster is or any of that shit.
Lannister.
See, there you go. So if I can manage to avoid major nerd things, you can too. And also by not clicking on a podcast that says Civil War, because you know what the hell we're going to talk about.
It's a little harder nowadays. There are a couple feeds on Facebook that I've had to unfollow. I've unfollowed comicbook.com. I've unfollowed Marvel Universe Rocks My World just because they're a little too... What comicbook.com does a lot is they have the spoiler in their headline. Like, I remember...
Like when Han died. Huffington Post had a picture of Han Solo.
Oh, that is not fucking cool.
And the title was... fans ruin major plot point in movie and get beat up in theater. With a picture of fucking Han Solo right there.
Wait, the Huffington Post picked that up?
I think it was Huffington Post, if I remember.
Because I wasn't sure. Okay, I don't know if that was legit, but it's one of those things. I read the story. It sounds a little too good to be true, but I'm choosing to believe it. Because as the story goes, some punk came out of The Force Awakens and shouted... I don't know, I'm presuming Han Solo, Kylo Ren kills Han Solo or something like that, to the people that were in line to see the movie. And they jumped the rope and beat the ever-loving fuck out of that kid. And as the account I read online goes, the cops showed up and didn't arrest anyone because they called it justifiable.
That part I didn't hear.
See, that's the too good to be true part. But you know what? I'm choosing to just believe it. I'm choosing to believe that there is some justice in the world, and it manifested itself in this punk who got beat down for the Star Wars spoilers.
I remember when Last Crusade came out. I saw it at the Hillside Theater with my mom and my brother, and I remember walking through the parking lot, shaking my head, looking down, going, I can't believe they killed Indy. Why would they kill Indy? That's so stupid. You never kill Indiana Jones. I was saying it kind of loud, like, you never kill Indiana Jones. Why do they have to kill Indiana Jones? Somebody listening to this is probably like, you were that little shit.
Yep. You little fucker, I'm going to find you.
So let's dig into this here real quick. One of the things I wanted to know is, before we get into Civil War and stuff, and I think we kind of brushed on it a little bit earlier, with Marvel has a tendency to do things like the new universe. You have Marvel, then you have the new universe, then now that went away. Remember, issue 32 of a 34-issue limited series.
Yeah.
Out of fucking nowhere. Then now they created the Ultimates, and the two universes, Univi?
No, that would be universes.
Okay. Have kind of merged, from what I understand.
From what I understand as well. I know absolutely nothing about that. I haven't kept up on it, and I was tempted by this new Secret War thing, but I looked and I'm like, $4.99 an issue? It was either $4.99 or $5.99.
So it's like, is Nick Fury black now?
Oh, wait, shit. I looked something up because because, you know, it was the Ultimates Nick Fury that looked like Samuel L. Jackson.
Right.
But now in the regular Marvel Universe, Nick Fury apparently has a son by a black woman, I think. Well, and that's how. So now you've got the Samuel L. Jackson looking Nick Fury in the regular Marvel Universe. He wears like Captain America's costume that he wore when he wasn't Captain America, like very similar to the Winter Soldier costume that he wore in that film. And he was conveniently kidnapped by some villain who's like, "Oh, you're Nick Fury's son. Well, let's make you look like your father," and plucks his eye out so he has an eye patch.
Oh my god!
It's I'm like, dude, that's
wow.
That's not cool.
No. So the Civil War, when that happened. And how many years ago was that? That was...
Civil War was 07? Yeah, it might have started in 06, but it was mostly 07. 06, 07.
And that took place in the normal Marvel Universe, not
regular Marvel Universe, yeah.
Right. And you read it and hated it.
No, I read it, and I was all in on this book. I was captivated by it month to month. It wasn't until it ended that I realized it was shite. Which was really disheartening to me because I had been following this thing step by step. It captured my inner 12-year-old, like you would not believe. Like, you know, Cap and Iron Man are fighting. All the heroes are picking up sides and trying to gain allies, and they're beating each other up. And then it ends. Oh, spoiler here, not just...
Don't say spoiler, just fucking talk. I hate that shit. Just fucking... If you haven't seen a fucking movie while you're listening to the fucking podcast,
no, but this
turn it off and go home.
Spoiler, not just for the movie I saw last night, but this is a spoiler for now 9-year-old comic.
It's not even... Just don't say that word again.
Oh, God, control yourself.
Don't make me angry, Leonard Show. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
Breaths. I will play some Enya if that's what it takes to chill you out.
Orinoco Flow. So, yeah, I know Enya.
Yep.
Tori Amos. Anyway, so...
do not lump Tori Amos in with Enya.
I discovered them both at the same time.
Okay.
And Matthew Sweet and Cracker. It was the 90s.
Okay, those two I don't know. Yeah. But anyway, Civil War in the comic, it ends where Captain America's team is finally beating the crap out of Iron Man, and he like smashes off Iron Man's faceplate, and he's got the shield raised back, and Tony looks up and he's like, "Do it, do it!" And that's when Cap stops and he starts weeping, and he's like, "No, don't you see? We're not fixing anything. We're just fighting." And Spider-Man's like, "Dude, what are we stopping for? We were winning back there." And Cap's like, no, this has to stop. We have to go. Everyone lay down your arms. This was wrong.
A house divided never stands.
Yeah, but it's like the Steve Rogers I know would have known that all along. Like this...
It never would have gotten that far.
Right. My problem with the Civil War comic is my problem with Batman v Superman. It's a contrivance. We just had, Warner Brothers wanted to make a movie where Batman fights Superman. As a result, the movie makes very little sense because they have to kind of shoehorn and cram things, and you know, neither Batman or Superman are very intelligent or emotionally stable because we need them to fight. So they're both reacting as badly as one possibly can.
When you get Ben Affleck, apparently it's not that hard to do.
Well, no, okay.
And I can't say that because Affleck's done amazing shit, but everybody bags on him.
No, exactly. And Affleck's one of the best parts of that movie, dude. And although I have
hot in a Superman costume or Batman costume.
I have a head start on getting used to Ben Affleck as Batman, though, because there was back in the day, back in the aforementioned '90s, there was a magazine called Cinescape. It was a genre magazine. Did you ever?
Oh yeah, very familiar with it.
There was an article in there, the 10 best movies you'll never see, and there was a Schwarzenegger script vehicle that was around called Crusade for a long time. It was going to be either Ridley Scott or who directed RoboCop? Verhoeven. One of those guys was supposed to direct it, and it was going to be this medieval Conan-ish thing, but that never happened. And anyway, one of the projects they had in here was Batman Year One. I think this was right around the time of Batman and Robin, or shortly after that, when they thought they had successfully driven a stake through the heart of superhero films.
The nipple suit.
But they included the Batman Year One as a great movie you'll never see. And they, for all these films, they had done like mock-up poster art, and they had Ben Affleck as Batman, because this is when Affleck was 25, 26, so he was the perfect age for Batman Year One. And they had, oh God, what's her name? Tyra Banks as Catwoman, which I got taken her left. But you know who they had as Jim Gordon?
Gary Oldman.
Take a guess, Mr. Burton. Who did they
have? No way. Kurt Russell.
They had done up Kurt Russell.
I was going to show you
as Jim Gordon.
I'm wearing a Pork Chop Express shirt.
Nice.
So
I'm wearing my pajama shirt because I got up, drove the girls to school, drove Dawn to the L, picked up a donut from Kay's, and now here I am back in my living room.
What kind of donut did you get?
Chocolate frosted cake donut.
Fuck, really? It's like cake on the inside? It's not like donut material?
No, it's like the thicker donut, not the Dunkin' Donuts crap, but just like a good thick donut. It's called a cake donut.
Do you guys have Bosa donuts out there?
No.
Ooh, next time you come down, my friend.
Okay.
I'll rock your donut world. So they had Kurt Russell as Jim Gordon.
Yes, and they had Ben
Catwoman.
They had Ben Affleck as Batman, and I'm like, that would work. That would be really cool. So when they announced it here, it's like, wow, I've been waiting 20. It was like hearing Scott Glenn was going to play Stick on Daredevil. It's like, fuck, I've been waiting 20 years to see Stick
Fucking Daredevil.
And to see Scott Glenn as Stick. So that was a dream come true. But anyway,
so Affleck, we were like, he's good, but everybody bags on him.
Yeah, and
he became Batman.
Like all these people, and I'm telling people, don't go see that movie, it's bad. And they're like, oh yeah, I didn't think Ben Affleck would be good. I'm like, no. Don't not see it because of Affleck, because he's actually one of the best parts of the film. And they're like, really? Yeah. But anyway.
Fucker won an Oscar. Did he win an Oscar for Gone Girl?
No, he doesn't have an acting Oscar.
Directing
the only Oscar he has is he's got Best Director for Argo, I think. Did he win Best Director? I don't know. I'd have to check that. We'd have to consult the Oracle.
Right.
But his first Oscar was screenplay for Good Will Hunting. He and Matt Damon.
Fucking A, that's right.
And
everybody forgets about that.
So Civil War and the comic and Batman v Superman was just smashing action figures together. Like, we want you guys to fight. And so it's because in the Civil War comic, I didn't know what Cap was trying to accomplish. The Superhero Registration Act passes.
Now we're talking about the comic. We'll get into the movie in a minute.
Right.
So.
Talking about the comic here. Did you ever read it?
Like I said, I remember the school exploding. That started it, and then Peter Parker taking his mask off, saying, "I've been Spider-Man this whole time."
Right. Because it opens. There was a superhero team called the New Warriors. They were, a young.
I remember the fucking New Warriors. Yeah.
Yeah, they had Speedball and all.
Oh, fuck Speedball.
And so they
Remember, we used to fucking argue in your basement about Speedball. Like, who? Why?
yes. Well, we didn't argue. No, we both just railed about it. But
Best
according
motion
to
picture of the year, Argo 2012.
oh, excellent. According to my buddy Mike, Speedball actually became a really cool character once I think Fabian Nicieza started writing him. He took this ridiculous character and actually made him work, which is kind of cool. But anyway,
Dude created Deadpool, so
yes. So
there you go.
at so anyway, at the time of Civil War, Civil War opens and it's revealed that the New Warriors have a reality show. And, they've had this reality television show coming out, and they get a tip that some heavy hitter bad guys have set up shop they're hiding out in some suburban house. And these are guys that the New Warriors really shouldn't be taking on. These are A-list villains. They're like, oh man, imagine what this will do for our ratings. And one of the villains there is Nitro, is this guy who basically blows up. He's like a mini nuclear weapon.
Yeah. I thought he shot flames out of his wrists or something. He's bright yellow.
He wasn't in this.
In this with the blob.
No, that's
French fry, FF.
Pyro,
okay.
Pyro, not Nitro. And so the New Warriors are trying to take these guys down, and they're doing okay until Nitro says, yeah, you guys, you're playing with the big boys now. And he explodes. And this suburban house where they were hiding out is like within a block of a school. So the school is destroyed, children are dead, and the New Warriors are all dead. Speedball is dead. Everyone's dead because these guys were trying to fight outside their weight class for ratings. Mm-hmm. And so and do you remember like early 2000, like into the Iraq War, you had what was her name? Cindy Sheehan, I think. She was an anti-war activist.
Yes, I remember her.
So they had a character in there, very much an allegory for Cindy Sheehan. It was this mom whose son was killed in this school, and she's, Tony Stark attends the boy's funeral, and she spits in his face and saying, "You funded the Avengers, all your blood money," and so she makes Tony Stark feel bad, and so he supports the Registration Act, and the Registration Act is signed, fast-tracked through Congress. And
like the Patriot Act.
Exactly. And I mean, that's what Civil War was about. It was all about safety versus
freedom.
And so Cap says, no, I'm not going to hunt down my fellow heroes. And so Maria Hill, because Nick Fury is not in the story. Maria Hill was the acting director of S.H.I.E.L.D., and she's nowhere near as hot or nice as Kobe Smulders in the comics. She was a real bitch.
Or as Samuel L. Jackson.
Exactly. So... oh, now I'm picturing hot Sam.
God, man, wearing makeup, eyeliner.
Sam on Evans action.
Yeah.
That's a whole other thing.
So anyway, Nick Fury's out of the picture. She's running the S.H.I.E.L.D. show. She
brings Cap in and says, okay, so you can handle these guys getting out of line. And he's like, whoa, I'm not going to arrest people that are putting their lives on the line to defend this country every day. And she's like, oh, well, I guess you're part of the problem. And immediately surrounded by all these agents with machine guns. It's just like, what the fuck are you doing? But it's like, oh, yes, well, this is called Civil War, and we need you guys to start fighting as quickly as possible. So I'm just not going to be rational at all. And it turns into a war. Everyone's fighting everybody. Okay. Civil War had probably the greatest desecration of a character ever. Civil War is where you got the Thor clone. Have you heard about the Thor clone?
I've heard about the Spider-Man clone. I've heard about the Clone Wars.
Because at the time in Civil War, Hulk was off planet because that was when they fired Hulk into space.
What?
Yeah, because the Hulk went on a rampage and like hundreds of people were killed. So
that's when he called Damage Incorporated. Remember that little four-issue thing? Yeah.
But so Reed Richards and Tony Stark and I forget who else, but they made the very rational decision. They're like, he's too dangerous and we can't control him. So I don't know if they drugged him or lured him on a spaceship and they fired him off into space.
Okay, because I'm like, you're going to have to control him at least for a little bit to get him in the rocket, and then
Yes. So Hulk is off planet and Thor was dead at this time. But then there's a fight.
Wait. I got to back up. They killed Thor. How did they kill Thor?
It was part of they did the Avengers Disassembled storyline where like they took out the big the big three Avengers. The Avengers was not happening. And Thor, there was a lot of shit going on. There were these guys, they had the mold where Odin made Mjolnir. So they were able to forge hammers of their own. They weren't as powerful as Mjolnir, but there were 3 of them.
But don't you have to be like pure of heart or something like that to pick up Mjolnir? But these were knockoffs, so it didn't.
Right,
you just had to have good credit or something.
Exactly. So but they made their own, so they could make their own rules.
There you go.
Anyway, Thor got taken out. Thor was dead at the time. And I love the way they brought Thor back. You know how they brought him back? You know what mechanism was in place? Thor's a god.
Right.
So a lot of it had to do with faith. Like, if they believed that Thor could come back. That was, like, the fact that people still believed in Thor and wanted Thor was one of the primary mechanisms by which he came back.
Write this down. It's a book called Case of the Toxic Spell Dump, I think. And it's Harry Turtledove. Same premise. The book is basically the same premise as that. They believe, and then these old gods come back and stuff. So, but that's pretty cool that they incorporated that. Actually, I think that's been used in other vehicles as well.
That's cool.
So he comes back.
But this is after Civil War. Because during Civil War, it turns out there's a Thor clone. They cloned Thor, and he's like part clone, part cyborg. It was pretty stupid. So, of course, they didn't really flesh out what he was. Because they show Thor shows up, and he's on Tony Stark's side. And at first I'm like, what the fuck? Thor has planted his hand on Cap's shoulder and said, this man I would follow through the gates of Hades. But it turns out it's this Thor clone. Which is fine, except the Thor clone was wielding Mjolnir. Which is...
Did you know it was Thor, the Thor clone at the time?
No, they get into that in the... Like, later in... Like, no, I didn't. So I was like, what the fuck? Because this guy shows up, and he's like, he's whacking people around, talking, none of you are going anywhere, and he kills Giant Man in the middle of this battle. And it's like, everyone's like, what the fuck are you doing? You just killed that guy.
So they wiped out some major characters in Civil War in the comic.
They did. And not as many as they planned, because originally they were going to kill off Sue Storm.
No shit.
They were going to kill the First Lady of Marvel in Civil War.
Wow.
But fans heard about it and basically said, no.
What? Now, what was going on? Remember when, I think his name was Warlock, when he died? Was that Extinction Agenda?
Warlock.
He was that goofy looking thing. I think he was.
Oh, from New Mutants, yeah. That was something in the Extinction Agenda, I think. I never read New Mutants.
I think you read New Mutants.
I had some when they tied in with X-Men.
Yeah, okay, that's how I had them as well.
And there was Cypher, and then they would merge sometimes and form Douglock and all that.
I don't remember that, but this is why you have your own podcast, because you know shit like this. I'm going, yeah, sure, great. I don't remember that at all.
So anyway, my problem with this Thor cyborg clone wielding Mjolnir is that you have to be worthy. And my buddy Mike was like, no, well, they use his genetic material, so technically it's Thor. I'm like, no, but the hammer's not science. The hammer is magic. Mm-hmm. So technically, he's not Thor, and he's not worthy, and he shouldn't be wielding the hammer.
I love it when you do this.
Thank you. So that's how I felt about that. And so that was the...
Preach it!
So when they announced that the next Captain America flick would be Civil War, my godson was like, oh, I bet you're pissed off. I'm like, no, are you kidding? This is awesome. Because they're going to... The Marvel Studios is going to take it, and they're going to fix it.
Because you've got... When you've got Marvel Comics, you've got however many books they have out, and you've got however many writers writing it. Right. Granted, they get in the bullpen, they probably, okay, we need to do these kind of things. but at the same time, somebody's gonna put their little mark on it, you know?
Yes, someone's going to go off the reservation.
Yeah.
No plan survives first contact with the enemy. All that jazz.
Nice. Good. But when you come to the movies, it's the movies. So they're kind of, I would say they really plan it out and they know what's going on and everything all meshes. But then you find out when they're filming the first Iron Man movie, there pretty much was no script. They were in the trailer like, are we coming out to shoot? Hey, you guys coming out to shoot? And it's like, hold on a minute. We're having a, what are we doing? We're eating or something. We're eating each other. I mean, no, we're meditating.
Yeah, I love in the behind the scenes, they like Favreau's by the villain armor. And he's like, yeah, it's the Crimson Dynamo, and we don't know if it's going to be the Crimson Dynamo. We're going to see. And of course, they used Ironmonger if they went that way.
Mm-hmm.
That's
fucking great. So okay, so now the movie's announced. You're like, boom, Marvel's.
I'm like, yeah, they're going to
Marvel
fix
Studios batting 10 out of 10, and
they're the new Pixar. They haven't made a bad flick.
Ooh, there you go. That's a good analogy.
But Pixar's not Pixar anymore because I saw Monsters University, and that was a big steaming pile.
Now, did Pixar do Inside Out?
Yes.
Fucking awesome.
You
disagree?
I don't disagree. I think it's a good movie. I really liked it, and I get the point. You got to have all the feels. My problem with Inside Out was completely this is all me. It's strictly through my filter.
I know what my problem was with it. What's yours?
Mine is I had now please keep in mind I'm married. I have 2 young girls. So there are days, and I swear my daughters are 10 and about to be 6, and I think they're already on the same cycle as their mother. Like Lexi doesn't have a cycle yet, but they seem to get into these patterns. So there are days where I get up in the morning and I like armor up to do battle with the sadness of,
you're the
essentially
bad guy.
Essentially 3 young girls. No, I'm not the bad guy. It's just I gotta deal with this, and I gotta, and it's just like there's hormones involved, and it's like, can't you just, not be sad? And so I had an extremely visceral and negative reaction to sadness. You make sadness like a physical being and give it that voice. And I just wanted to reach, and you remember she's like touching the memories, and the memories.
Yeah.
Like, don't leave those alone. She's like, oh, I'm sorry. I don't know. I wanted to reach the screen. Why can't you just leave her alone?
My problem with it, the only problem I had with it, and I thought it was more of an homage than you're ripping this off. It was Herman's head.
Yes. That was the sitcom, right?
Yeah, it was on Fox. It was Trisha the Yeardley girl who does Bart's voice was in it. Scientologist, by the way. And I have this weird thing with knowing who people are Scientologists and who aren't. So anyway, the movie. How do we get it? Oh, because of the Pixar thing.
Because of the Pixar.
Right.
That's where we went off the rails.
So, which we do. Which is fine, as long as we come back, as long as we circle around.
We'll circle back around. We'll go around the block a few times. We're fine.
All right. So you saw it last night.
Saw it last night.
Your expectations were, I think they're going to fix this.
My expectations were super high. My expectations were almost unfair. I went into it thinking this is going to be the best movie ever, and my faith was rewarded. Last night. Civil War is the fucking awesomest fucking movie ever.
Let me quote your Facebook post here real quick, because I did write this down. We may just have a new number 1.
We may just have a new number 1, because I posted a couple hours before I saw it. My current big 3 Marvel flicks.
Which I think you deviated from the last time we were talking, but that's fine because you had time to reflect.
Maybe. I reflect, but
I remember when we were talking, you had Iron Man as number 1, but your list had Iron Man at like number 2 or number 3.
Did I? I wouldn't have said. I may have said Iron Man first, but I don't think it was meant to be number 1 because Winter Soldier has been number 1 for a while.
Fair enough. And
but anyway, so my
fucking great movie, by the way.
Yes, the Russo brothers are fucking.
So they did Winter Soldier.
They did Winter Soldier, and they're doing Civil. They did Civil War,
Oh,
and they're
fuck.
doing Infinity War. And the Avengers franchise is in great hands because
Awesome.
the battle at the
Awesome.
airport with all the characters involved is the greatest superhero battle on film.
Dude, the
This is
trailer shows the fucking typical Marvel, George Perez fucking shit. Them running at each other.
yeah. That's actually like the latter half of the fight. That's not how it opens. It's that sequence is not simple. It's not short. Because a lot of these movies are hampered by the fact that they're like, guys, we only have so much money to spend on CGI, but Marvel just fucking said, here's our black Amex. You fucking go to town, and they did, and it's fucking incredible.
We're 30 minutes and 30 seconds into it. Spill.
And we're finally talking about the movie.
That's how the fuck we are. That's why I was like, the shit that flies out of your mouth is great, and I'm like, I can't hold on to this. This must be out there in the world. People must know about the Leonard show.
Well, what made me really happy about having seen Civil War is because when they first announced it and they said Downey's going to be in it, we're going to have all these characters. I didn't want Cap to get lost because Cap's my guy, and I didn't want them to. I wanted to. I'm like, my first thought was like, why do you have to make this the next Captain America movie? Why can't it be an Avengers and
Right? Yeah.
or just its own thing? Why is this Captain America 3? But
Why is it Captain America 3?
it's Captain America 3, and they keep it Cap centered because of Bucky.
Okay, so let's get into that. Now, I saw the first 2-3 minutes of it. It was a bootleg European, I think Spanish or Italian copy, where you and I had an off-mic conversation about that, where a guy is speaking in another language and the subtitles aren't English, and I have no idea what in the fuck is going on. And it's
Right.
the guy's holding the camera, somebody sits down in front of him, kind of a thing. So does this
Was it a Russian guy?
Yeah, it was a Russian guy talking to Bucky.
Well, then the funny thing is, it's random words. Because there's a series of code words that you say to Bucky to activate the Winter Soldier.
So is this Captain America 3 or is this an Avengers?
This is Captain America 3. This is
3?
Captain America Civil War.
Flat out. Okay, so this takes place after Ultron?
After Ultron, after Winter Soldier, all that stuff.
Okay, kick ass. So
And-
go. It opens up, Bucky's in the chair getting zapped or some shit.
Right. Well, what I loved about this movie is my fear was not ultimately founded, because this is very much a Captain America movie, but this is also very much an adaptation of the Civil War comic. They just took some of the key ingredients and made them better, and they've been building to this.
So you're basically saying the same formula, different variables.
Yes. And better, even better than that, they didn't skip the foreplay this time. We've had years of
Nice.
They weren't teenagers just wanting to ram it home and get the main event done. That's what BVS did. Marvel has been building this. They've been setting up Civil War since the Avengers. They set up the Thor clone in Avengers. Thank the gods they didn't use it. But Joss Whedon set up the Thor clone in the Avengers, and I swear to God, no one noticed.
Wow. How did he do that? Again, deviating, but we're still on track somewhat.
Well, yes. Okay, you've seen the Avengers.
Oh yeah.
And there's the part where Thor and Loki are grappling on the Stark Tower, and it looks like Thor is getting through to Loki for a minute. He's like, "No, we can stop this together, brother." And and Loki fakes like he's listening to him, and then he hits him with a punch dagger, right in the gut. And Thor's like, "Oh!" And that just pisses Thor off, which you don't want to do. So he starts kicking Loki's ass. Loki rolls off the building onto one of those Chitauri rocket cycle, flies away, and Thor pulls this dagger out of himself and contemptuously casts it aside. The dagger, which very clearly shows, has Thor's blood on it. And he just tosses it to the side on the balcony of the Stark Tower. Because in Civil War, they mention that...
The comic or the movie?
In the comic, when they make the Thor clone, someone comments, they're like, "Did you know that Tony had that lock of Thor's hair since the first meeting of the Avengers. They're like, who does that? Who? And someone's like, well, he's got a lot of foresight. But it's like, yeah, Tony. They're just saying Tony's been a douche the whole time.
He's
And
Batman. He's Batman.
to a degree, yeah.
Another conversation we could totally have that could last for 2 hours.
Yes, he could. We're here to talk about this movie.
Right.
And so they set up the Thor clone, but thank the gods they didn't use it. Because that actually took... The first time I saw the Avengers, I saw that. Because that was the funny part about the Civil War comic, because Tony Stark was very much a douche throughout Civil War. He was very hardline on the side of the government. And they were doing this right before the Iron Man movie came out. So I think Marvel, for a second, was like, oh shit, this is our leadoff hitter in the films, and we've turned him into a douche. So they kind of were doing some backpedaling.
Backpedaling, yeah.
Tony's a hero. He was doing what he thought was right. Let's move on. Great movie. So anyway, we get to the Civil War film, and it opens with an Avengers operation where for some reason they don't have the most powerful Avengers there.
Now, where do they leave off? I mean, we said Ultron I have not seen yet.
Okay.
The girls pointed out to me that the Hulk and Black Widow have something going on, but that doesn't concern this. The last time I saw the Winter Soldier, he was in the museum.
Right.
Going through kind of all the Captain America stuff, kind of like jogging his memory.
Yep. So he's like starting to remember who he is, and then we go into Age of Ultron.
Is he in Age of Ultron?
Bucky is not, no.
Okay.
There's just an aside in Age of Ultron, because Sam Wilson is in there. Falcon is in there for a second when the Avengers are having a party. And he says, no, I'm perfectly happy chasing cold leads on our missing persons case.
Oh.
Like, we're still looking for Bucky.
Yeah. So there's a reference. What are you drinking?
Water.
Could be vodka. Could be Everclear. Could be your own piss. You're weird. So
it's water. We'll say water.
Yeah, we'll stick it to that.
So yeah, we get to the film, and anyway, Age of Ultron. At the end of Age of Ultron, Ultron ends with a different Avengers lineup, because Thor had a vision during the movie, so he leaves Earth to find out what's going on. The Hulk, because you saw where Tony had to use the Hulkbuster armor to stop one of the Hulk's rampage.
I saw it in the trailer.
Yeah, so Bruce flies off, and he's leaving society. He's gone. We don't know where he is.
Jumping on a rocket ship like he did in the comic.
Yeah, and he's not on a rocket ship,
Okay.
but he is supposed to be in the next Thor movie. So we'll see how that happened. And Tony says, "Hey, it's time for me to tap out. You know, I'm gonna go, and maybe we'll retire, whatever." So Cap and Black Widow are left to form a new team of Avengers. So they created Vision in Age of Ultron, and so the new Avengers team are Cap and Black Widow with War Machine, Vision, Scarlet Witch, and Falcon. So they've got a new Big Six going into it.
Now, hold on. I got to stop again real quick. Not really deviating, but kind of clarifying that Scarlet Witch is Magneto's daughter, if I recall.
In the comics, yes.
Okay, because Magneto's owned by Fox.
Yes. But because Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver were also key members of the Avengers, both studios have the rights to those characters. There was some legal agreement or ruling where they both have access to those characters, but in the MCU, out of Marvel Studios, they can have Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, but they can't mention their parentage, and they can't be mutants.
Yeah, there's no mutants in...
yeah, so they were...
Why does Disney give Fox like $1 trillion as they're ours?
There are rumors, and these are not really substantiated yet, but because Sony made the deal with Marvel, and that's how you've got Spider-Man in this movie, and Spider-Man going to be in the MCU, there are rumors that because Fox made Fan4stick, and it sucked and made no money, and the X-Men movies are kind of a mess right now, continuity-wise.
Fox is tripping over their own dick.
They really are.
And then we got goddamn Netflix. Love Netflix, don't get me wrong. Who have Daredevil and The Punisher.
Oh, yeah. Have you watched that yet?
No, I fucking haven't.
Fucking eggs, bacon.
Fucking hey, man, there's fucking this game called Overwatch. It's like a free beta weekend. I was playing that all morning, and then Heroes of the Storm happened, and Battlefield, the maximum level you can get to 140. I hit that because tonight at 9 o'clock they're announcing Battlefield 5.
Watch Daredevil.
I'll get around to it.
Anyway, so yeah, but anyway, there are unsubstantiated rumors that Fox is making overtures saying, "Hey guys, maybe we can make a deal."
Nice.
So they might reboot X-Men in the MCU.
I wouldn't argue.
At which point is
That's fucking my move. I'll drink a Guinness and there's just like foam left, and I'll hold it up to my mouth and start shaking it and stroking it as I'm getting the foam all over. I embarrass my friends when I go to the bar.
You embarrassed me, and I'm in another state.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so here we are. Civil War starts off.
Now,
do you start off with the new lineup?
Yes, but for some reason on this operation, War Machine and Vision aren't there. Okay. It's just Cap, Black Widow, Scarlet Witch, and Falcon, and they're taking out. Remember Rumlow, the bad guy in Winter Soldier, who got the building dropped on him?
Not well, in my head, but okay.
Now he's the guy who's he's like the leader of the strike team. The dark-haired guy, Frank Grillo. He's in the second Purge movie.
Mm-hmm.
So he's full on Crossbones now, and you know he's fighting Cap, and Cap is kicking his ass. But it turns out he's got a suicide vest on. He's like, "Yeah, I'm going to take you with me," and he pulls the plunger. He's like, "Yeah, Bucky said to say goodbye," and because he's taunting Cap with knowledge of Bucky, and he's distracting Cap so he can get the vest going, and he like blows himself up. But Steve's right there, and he's like, "What the hell?" And the explosion is contained because Scarlet Witch showed up, and she's doing her woola 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 to contain the explosion.
Hocus pocus stuff.
And she's trying to push him away, but she accidentally pushes him through a building where he explodes and kills a couple dozen people.
Ooh.
And everyone feels really bad about that because they didn't mean to do that.
Well, never mind the huge fights they had in the streets of New York and buildings are just getting trashed all over.
Well, and then so now everyone wants to blame the Avengers for everything, and
so they start going back through all the other fights and shit. Like,
yeah,
hey,
that's
you guys
where the trailer
all this stuff up.
Where he shows up New York, and it's like, yeah, New York, we were invaded by aliens, and we saved you. You're welcome. But then he shows Washington, D.C., when the helicarriers are coming down, and there's some, smartphone footage of people on the ground that are getting hit by pieces of rubble from the helicarriers, and it's like, oh, yeah, see, it really looked like they all stayed right in that area, but I guess some stuff got out. And Sokovia, of course, when Ultron... Oh, you haven't seen Age of Ultron.
They ruin it. This is the just fucking talk, man.
I'm just saying, oh, hey, you don't know what I'm talking about. At the end of Age of Ultron, he, picks up the city? It couldn't have been the whole country. Anyway, he picks up a very large landmass. His plan is to levitate it miles in the air, drop it, and it'll be like what killed the dinosaurs. It'll be an extinction. So people are blaming the Avengers for everything, and there's a character in this movie who is very much like the Cindy Sheehan character, because she ambushes Tony Stark and gives him a picture of her son who was studying abroad, and he was in Sokovia when that happened, and he was building housing for low-income families or whatever, and so he was killed when one of the buildings fell. And she's like, and you and all your people... It was very much like the Cindy Sheehan type character in the comics. She's blaming him. Tony feels really bad, and so he supports the registration amendment. And
so they bring it up. So in the movie here, they're like, boom, flat out, you guys got to fucking register.
Yeah, now it's the Sokovia Accords, and it's a UN deal, and all these countries are signing it because, the Avengers, they don't just operate in the States. They go all over the place. They don't really respect borders. They go wherever they're needed, and they do whatever they got to do, which is great because they're heroes, but when people start to not feel safe, all
Yeah,
these
it's like
nations are like, dude, this isn't cool.
they're going to save humanity, but they might kill a bunch of us at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, there might be some collateral damage, but I mean,
Collateral
that
damage.
collateral damage might be happening because, giant freaking aliens are coming. So,
Lesser of two evils, pal. What do you want?
yeah. So they bring back William Hurt as General Ross, and he's the guy, because he's the Secretary of State now. And they're putting this to Cap, and he's like, so you will act under the authority of a United Nations panel. You will not act unless that panel sends you in. So they're basically going to be like a response team of the UN. They're going to be under the supervision and held accountable by this UN team.
But now the thing is this, could they deny, like if the UN goes, we need you to go over here and do this, and the Avengers could just be like, that's a bullshit call. That's a fucking Somalia, man. That's Mogadishu.
That's Cap's thing. He's like, what if they send us somewhere and on the wrong side? What if we need to go somewhere and they don't want to send us?
Yeah.
He's like, no, we're not perfect, but the best hands are still our own. And
good line.
Yeah. Well, he's Captain America.
Captain America.
Ah, he's dreamy. Anyway. So Cap's not buying this, and then at the UN summit where they're signing the Sokovia Accords, the place is blown up. And then footage comes out showing that Bucky planted the bomb. So he's framed, so now there's this huge manhunt for Bucky. And Cap gets there like just before everyone else, so he's trying to help Bucky escape, but then eventually, shit happens. Black Panther shows up. Oh, because Black Panther's father is the king of Wakanda, and he's killed in this bombing in the UN. So Black Panther wants Bucky dead, and that's his motivation in this whole thing.
Makes sense.
So Cap and Black Panther are fighting, and eventually they're taken into custody. But for Cap, that's a win because they had orders to shoot Bucky on sight. But in the course of this fight, and everybody showing up, and War Machine shows up and says, "Congratulations, Cap, you're a criminal," and Cap surrenders because he's like, "Hey, at least Bucky's alive. At least he can face trial. We can prove what's going on."
So they kept Bucky also. They captured.
Yes, they captured.
They
Bucky.
kept Cap. Bucky.
They capture Cap, Bucky, and Sam Wilson, the Falcon, and they're taken into custody. But then it turns out that the guy that's psychoanalyzing Bucky, we've seen him throughout the film. He's gathering, like he's got the old, basically the Winter Soldier instruction manual, and because he's been unearthing all this stuff. And when he goes in to interview Bucky about his state of mind, he starts using the secret code words to activate the Winter Soldier.
Oh.
And he gets Bucky to break out and go all haywire and start attacking people. And he starts saying the words, and Bucky's like, no, no, no! And he's trying to bust out and get to him before he can finish, but then he's activated and he's like, ready to serve. And But, and here's the thing, they never really clear up in the movies, because Bucky was lost in World War II in the Swiss Alps.
Yeah.
He was taken by Hydra. How is he Russian?
They wiped his memory, man. They implanted false memories and shit into him. Gave him those activation words and shit.
But he's handled by the Russians. How did the Russians come into this?
Because in World War II, they were kind of... Remember, they were pushing in from the east. We were pushing in from the west. And they just happened to get to where we were fighting.
Right, but they were our allies. And yes, Hydra are bad guys, and they were growing in every nation. But still, it's a little.
Russians being our allies in World War II. I mean, I just today read about something called the the Doolittle raid. And this really happened. So we got bombed. Huh?
Yeah, no, I saw the movie.
They made a movie? Oh, with the talking animals?
No, in Pearl Harbor.
Oh.
Because, how do you end that movie on a positive note? The Jimmy Doolittle raid is like the climax of the film, where they, made their first. Yeah, fuck you too, Japan.
Yeah, and we did it like within 4 months of them bombing us. We were fucking them up, but it was we
Flowing-
landed.
They flew bombers off of aircraft carriers.
Knew there was no way in fuck they could land them, so they're like, fuck it, just fly into China. When they flew into China, all of them crashed in China except for one plane. The one plane that made it to Russia was like, but the Russians are our allies. Yeah, they fucking detained those guys for like over a year.
Yeah.
So
the Russians were our allies.
My ass.
Were our allies in the way that they're like, yes, this crazy man is attacking us. We don't care if you attack him. That would be very beneficial to us. Thank you.
Was it the enemy of my enemy is my friend?
Yes, yes. Enemy of my enemy is my friend. But, stay over there.
So anyway, so they get this fucking guy and they turn him into a thing, and now he's,
right.
been
And
imprinted.
it turns out the guy who's... I'm curtailing things a bit here, because... Wow, we're running long. Seriously, if anyone,
we're 50 minutes into it. Don't worry about it.
No, but I just have to say thank you. Anyone who is still listening to us, you know what? You're doing it right, man.
You'd be surprised. I'm one of those guys. I listen to a lot of fucking podcasts, and most of them run about an hour. Thinking Sideways is one that I listen to, and they just recently did one that was like 2 hours long, and in the podcast, one of the hosts is like, you guys keep emailing us saying, make them longer. We like longer podcasts. So we're doing a fucking long one for you guys. It was like an hour and 45 minutes.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Geek Show is another podcast I fucking love. Sometimes it's an hour. Sometimes it's 3 hours. Just kind of depends what they have to talk about.
Okay. That works.
So, yeah.
Anyway,
keep going.
Hats off to you guys.
So Bucky's got a Russian accent. He's getting activated by the doctor.
He's been activated by the guy, and it turns out the bad guy in this, he lost his family in Sokovia. So he wants vengeance on the superheroes. But he knows he can't kill them because more powerful men than me have tried. He wants the superheroes to destroy themselves. So he framed Bucky to get everyone to go after Bucky, which would cause Cap to defend his friend, and the superheroes turn on each other, and he wants the superheroes to all destroy themselves.
So the whole revenge thing, because my family was killed, Die Hard 3, the unwritten script that we have to do for Lethal Weapon with Endo's family members.
Exactly.
You see, there you go. You got to bring in the Al Leong whenever you can.
You have come full circle with Al Leong. And there's, oh, God. I know you hate the word, but I hesitate. I know you don't care about
that S word. You're going to use that S word.
I'm not going to use the S word. I'm not going to use the S word. But there is an element of the story that I hesitate to tell you about because, oh my God!
What? Don't hesitate. Just talk.
Listen.
The word honky does offend me, but you can replace it with cracker or anything that.
All right. Listen here, cracker. Because the flick open very early in the film. You see a car crash. You see the Winter Soldier takes out a car.
I saw up to that part. Yeah.
Oh, right. You saw that. Okay, and he gets the stuff out of the trunk.
Yeah.
That, and they give the date, like that was December 16th, 1991, and I'm like, oh shit. Do you get what that would be?
December 16th, 1991.
91.
I graduated high school in 91.
Did you see Ant-Man?
No.
Okay. Well, anyway, in Ant-Man, there's a flashback. So we see that Howard Stark was still active in S.H.I.E.L.D. in 1989. The Winter Soldier killed Tony's parents.
No fucking shit, like in Lethal Weapon 2, when the Kaffas...
Yes.
It killed Martin Riggs' wife.
When you were a narc in Long Beach, you got too close to us. So
no shit.
Yes, so it turns out the Winter Soldier killed Tony's parents, and that's the final nail in the coffin on this thing.
And fucking Tony finds this out?
At the end. Fight in the airport happens.
All right, wait, hold on. Get back up. So yeah. He gets turned, he gets activated, he's starting to speak Russian and shit. He takes off.
Well, he goes crazy right there, but then when Cap and Falcon subdue him, then he's Bucky again. Like the incident has passed.
Like an alligator, you flip him over on his back, you rub his belly, and he's normal.
Exactly. And they're trying to get him out of the country, they're trying to get him home, and when they're at the airport is when Tony and company show up and are going to stop them.
So all that's there is Winter Soldier, Cap.
Oh no, I'm sorry. People have gathered now, so it's the scene you see in the trailer where it's on Cap's side. He's got Winter Soldier, Falcon, Hawkeye, Ant-Man, and Scarlet Witch, and on Tony's side, he's got War Machine, Black Widow, Vision.
So Vision does show up.
Vision does show up, and so, and Spider-Man. Pardon me.
So how the fuck does Spider-Man get wrapped into this?
Well, they do it very quickly, but they do it very efficiently.
As long as it's plausible.
He's been Spider-Man for 6 months, so there's a scene where Tony goes to his apartment, and when he gets home from school, Tony is sitting with Aunt May, Marissa Tomei.
No way.
Yeah, Marissa Tomei is Aunt May.
What the fuck?
I know, they're just getting younger.
Well, okay, she's like hotter than fuck, right? Like, I'd give her a 1 on my nose scale. I chop off my nose and test my looks just so I can fuck her.
I
Hey,
wouldn't go nose scale.
Last Boy Scout line for you there.
Yeah.
Shane Black.
So he kept it to the fingers. He didn't go nose. That's commitment, man.
No,
That's
that was
true love.
Yeah, it's like, so on your finger scale, what would you give my wife? Oh no, he said about the dancer. He was like, I'd give her a no. The line was said by somebody. I'd give her a 1.
Oh wait, no. He's like, she rates a 3 on my finger scale. That means I cut off 3 of my fingers. That gotta let me fuck her. And
Joseph Cornelius Hollenbach.
And Joe says, why don't you make her a 1 on your nose scale, improve your looks.
There you go. That was it. So she's still holding on.
She's
why the fuck is she Aunt May?
Here.
Aunt May's always had gray hair and been a little old lady.
Yeah, and she ain't no more. And so yeah, and Tony's sitting with her. So you know Tony.
Yeah, just keep talking because I'm still reeling from this whole Marissa Tomei thing.
I'd hit this.
Bam! Blows your fucking head off.
And
my cousin Vinny. So right, he comes home.
So
Tony's
he comes
there.
home, and Tony's like, "Oh, you've been getting my email about the grant, right?" And Peter's like, "Yeah, totally. The grant, yeah, of course." So then Tony excuses the two of them so they can discuss things. Tony whips out the cell phone footage of Spider-Man, and he's like, "Kid, I know who you are. I need your help. You're going to be on my team." And he recruits him for Team Iron Man in Civil War.
Is it a new Spider-Man, or is it the one from the last Amazing Spider-Man?
No, it's a new Spider-Man. It's Tom Holland. This kid is great. He's fantastic. They actually got a teenager to play Spider-Man.
Oh, shit.
As a teenager.
Who the funk?
Yeah. For years, people have been saying, oh, you need to stop casting these 30-year-olds as Peter Parker. And now they cast a teenager, and they're like, oh, what is he, 11? Oh, my God, he looks so young.
Nick Fury went from being a white guy to a black guy, for fuck's sake. They make it up as they go along.
Make up your minds, people. Anyway, so
Tony Stark totally knows who he is and is like,
yes, they don't say how Tony's figured it out, but he's a super genius.
They're gonna fucking, I'm telling you, Sony's gonna fucking dump Spider-Man. Disney's gonna throw a shitload of money at him.
Oh well, the next Spider-Man movie, it's a partnership, is what it is, which means.
Oh, I heard that. Yeah.
Which means Sony has said, look, we're not doing very well, so how's about you make the movie and we split the profits and we can all benefit. And Marvel said, hell yeah, we get Spider-Man, yes.
Fucking win-win, bring it on.
Win-win. And so now you've got the fight at the airport. Oh my God. Greatest fucking superhero battle in any movie.
How long does it go on for?
Hands down.
Or is it one of those fights that seems like in They Live, the alley fight scene, you think goes on for 20 minutes and only goes on for maybe 5? Is it one of those where you're watching and you're like, holy fuck, this won't end.
But not, but
awesome.
in a different, like in a good way. Like
okay.
it felt like it was 15 minutes long. It probably wasn't, but it felt
2 hour movie, 2.5 hour movie,
2.5 hour movie.
Shit.
But not shitty BVS 2.5 hours, like good Marvel 2.5 hours.
BVS
stuff that makes sense actually happens.
Second time. Batman versus BVS. Okay, because I'm like, this is the second time you said that. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yes,
I used to be cool. So awesome fight scene at the airport. Spider-Man comes out of fucking nowhere.
And during the fight, Falcon says, "Cap, you and Winter Soldier have to go." because we're not going to win this. You guys have to get away. The fight's not here. So Cap and Winter Soldier go for the Quinjet, and between them and the Quinjet is Black Widow. And she's standing there, and Black Widow, and what I said, this is an adaptation of Civil War. Because in the Civil War comic, you had Sue Storm, who was kind of conflicted, and then in the big fight when Thor shows up and kills Giant Man, she like puts up a shield and tells Cap and his team, "Go, get out of here now." That's Black Widow's role in this movie. She's between them and the Quinjet, and she's got her, Widow sting extended, and she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna regret this." And she fires, but she shoots at Black Panther, who is coming up behind Cap. And she says, go now. And so Cap and Bucky escape, and they go to the big, to where it looks like the bad guy who activated Bucky and made them all.
It's like Castle Grayskull.
Yeah.
They go to his house.
Yeah, he's in the Russian place where they kept the other Winter Soldiers. Because there's more than one that had this serum that were like super soldiery and crazy and murdery. And they get there, and because they think this guy is trying to act, because this guy was a special forces dude. They use the name Zemo for this guy. He's not the same Baron Zemo from the comics, but they use that name as a Cap villain, which is cool. And they show up, and he's killed them all. And he's like, "You think I want more of you people? I want you to destroy yourselves." And so they're facing off with this guy. In the meanwhile, Tony, I'm leaving out a ton of shit here, but anyway,
you don't have to. Just fucking talk, man.
No, I know
about this,
but I'm getting. Well, you're gonna have to go see the movie, and my voice is, my throat's dry and all that.
You're drinking your own piss. I mean, water.
Shut up! It's water.
You're like fucking Critical Bill, and
it's Daddy's special water. You leave it alone.
And you ever see Things to Do in Denver when you're dead?
Yes.
So you're like Critical Bill when he's all rolled up with fucking piss everywhere, and I am Godzilla and you are Tokyo.
Your reputation far exceeds your skills.
We only talk in movie references. Yes.
We're like did you ever see the Darmok episode of Next Generation?
I not ringing a bell, but I probably have.
Where they encounter these people who speak in metaphor, where he's like, Darmok, Angelad, at Tanagra. And that's how he says, I am giving you this thing.
I don't, that doesn't ring any bells.
Anyway, we could communicate like that with movie lines as well.
Yeah, totally. Just like movie lines and fucking references to movies. It's like that one scene in that one movie with that guy. And
absolutely.
Yeah, that was actually a Clerks reference.
Yep. I'm with you. I'm down.
I'm so meta. Fucking the kids are fucking using that.
Words I hate. Oh wait,
I hate it too. Yeah,
but this is a great segue because the kids nowadays, they say, "Oh, that is sick. Oh, that is so sick." I fucking hate that word.
I can hang with that. I hang with that more than bro.
But there are times when I see something and it's the only word that makes sense.
You're like, dude, that's sick.
Ken, the action in Winter Soldier, the fucking fight scenes, the action, the fights all throughout are fucking sick, dude.
That one scene in the trailer with the fucking the shield and they're bouncing it back and forth and they're like, Cap and Winter Soldier are like totally in sync with each other.
Right. It's, oh my God, it's so fucking amazing. But anyway, so meanwhile, Tony goes to visit Sam Wilson in prison, and he says, look, I need to know where they're going. I need to nip this in the bud. I need it. And Sam says, look, I'll tell you if you promise to go alone and as a friend. And Tony's like, yes, this is going bad. I never meant for this to happen. So Iron Man shows up, and you've seen the scene in the trailer where Iron Man's like, you're looking a little defensive, and Cap's like, well, it's been a long day.
Yeah.
Know exactly how this is going. Tony shows up in friendship, and he's like, look, because Tony has gotten proof that Winter Soldier didn't do the bombing. He knows now that Cap was right, and so he's looking to set things right. And
to admit he was wrong. I fucked up. I was wrong. It's got blown out of proportion. Let's just fucking
under the guy's there, and the bad guy activates a video screen. He has videotape surveillance footage of the Winter Soldier killing Howard and Maria Stark.
No fucking way.
And that is how the big climactic battle starts. That's how the big climactic battle starts.
The fight starts, yeah.
Because they were going to be cool, but Iron Man's like, he killed my mom. And so he's going after Bucky, and Cap is defending him. And so that's where the big battle, the big brouhaha happens.
Because, I mean, we really have to kind of think about this. So, Steve, when he was a scrawny little shit, was always friends with Bucky, always looked up to Bucky. And got to the point where he fucking went in during World War II there and busted him out of that place with all of his friends and stuff. So he's like fucking loyal to the end.
Yeah.
With his friends. And he's like that with, you know, America also. But he's against the whole registration thing. But it's not America, I guess. That's the UN.
Well, you see, that's the brilliant thing they've done with Cap over the years, and what they really, where the strength of the character lies, because Cap doesn't represent the government. Cap represents the ideals of our nation, which is why if he doesn't agree with the administration, he'll say so. Yeah. If the president tries to say, look, I need you to take out this guy, and Cap says, Mr. President, that's not a bad guy, so sorry, can't help you.
Nice.
And they, I hope, there's one thing, because at one point, you know, you see in the trailer where they're walking away with their hardware, and they point out, oh, that shield is government property. That's not yours.
Which is vibranium and adamantium, if I recall.
In the comics, in the movies, it's just vibranium. I suspect because Fox probably got the rights to adamantium along with Wolverine.
Fucking lawyers.
Yeah, but it's fine. You know, it's vibranium. It's the magic metal.
It's not bad. I'd take it.
Exactly.
You're like a fucking walrus. You're like Tusk. I'm waiting for the drums. Boom, 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 boom. I'm gonna dress you up like a walrus for Halloween.
Dude, I saw a 9:30 show, which means I got out at like midnight, little after, and then I got food on the way home, so I did not get a lot of sleep.
Did you go to Wendy's?
No, I went to Lucky Dogs. They were open till 1 a.m. weeknights. I just barely made it.
And you got a Coke with no ice?
Yes, I did.
Fucking still doing that shit.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
This body takes upkeep, man. You gotta keep that shit flowing.
You want to stay in that shape?
Gotta stay at my fighting weight.
Gotta fucking work at it. So okay, they just happen. So they fucking fight, right? So fucking Tony Stark loses his goddamn mind and is like, "Listen, Cap, you and I are friends." And that's the thing with Cap. It's fucking Bucky's #1. It's like his best buddy, you know, and it kind of goes down from there. And it always seems like Iron Man's kind of fluctuating between maybe #2 spot, maybe #10 spot. Just
Iron Man's not even #2. That's the thing. It's not as impactful just because they clash a lot in the Avengers movies. In Age of Ultron, they actually come to blows for a minute.
Wow.
When Tony is doing something that Cap doesn't think he should be.
I still love the part where I forget what movie it was, where Tony sneaks up behind fucking Banner and is like, boo! Or he pops a bag or something behind him to try to get him to change into the Hulk. Fucking
Are
love
you
it.
nuts? Yeah, jury's out.
Yeah. So, alright, so they start fighting. They're fucking going at it.
Yes. And, so... the fights are just fucking awesome.
Does it stick to the formula like every 10 minutes there's action?
Probably.
Because you know that formula, right?
There's probably action at least every 10 minutes. I know it's a formula they fucking jettisoned for BVS, Batman v Superman. Fucking first hour and a half of that movie is boring as shit. Oh my god.
How many producers were there on that movie? That's what you look at. You look at how many fucking fingers were in that pie, and you'll know really almost right off the bat if this is going to suck or not.
that translates directly into English as how many people are on my kill list. Because seriously, if I'm ever armed and I see Zack Snyder in a dark alley, that fucker's going down. Crime against nerddom. I will drag him to.
Fuck you! Fucking Watchmen kicked ass.
Fuck you, Watchmen kicked ass.
Oh, this is for another fucking podcast. This is another fucking podcast.
Okay, well, hang on.
Fighting words. Sucker Punch I haven't seen all of yet. And I haven't seen anything else he's
Punch
done.
Is a fucking steaming pile of shit.
What the fuck did he do before Watchmen?
He did the remake of Dawn of the Dead.
Okay, that was good.
Which I did love. I didn't need the zombie baby, but you know.
Yeah, that was
okay.
Personally I liked it, but
right. And then he did 300.
Fucking another brilliant movie.
Well, yes, but every movie he does, well, up until now, because Batman v Superman was a complete steaming pile of shit. But every movie he did, there was something in there. There was a little nugget that showed me that there were little deal breakers in there. They started out small,
fanboy shit,
and they got not necessarily fanboy shit, just more ideological shit. Like, you know, you start real small. Dawn of the Dead. I didn't need the zombie baby. 300. Little bigger. Great movie. Great movie. The fucking action is incredible and all that. And this is weird because my wife is a strong, intelligent woman and I respect her so much. And I understand that you want to convey that. But there's the scene where Leonidas, the emissary comes and they're by the well.
Yeah.
And Leonidas says, fuck you. And the guy's like, this is madness.
No, this is Sparta.
This is Sparta. And he kicks him in.
Historically referred to as Lacedaemonians.
Right. But instead in the film, the guy says, this is madness. And we pause for a beat. And Leonidas looks over to his wife, and his wife, as if to say, honey, can I please start a war? And she says, yes, you may start a war. And then he says, this is Sparta. And it kills it. It fucking rips the cojones right off of that scene. He's not going to ask permission in that moment, and it took me out of the movie. And
really?
It just really.
I interpreted that totally different. Like going, I'm thinking, and she's like, yeah, I'm kind of thinking the same thing. Because you know what? Imagine he kicks that guy down the well without kind of like okaying it through her. Just goes off and fucking does it. Holy shit! She's gonna be so. You've been married forever. I've lived with like 1,000 fucking girls. The hell he would have to fucking.
Okay, but neither you or I are the king of Sparta. The king of Sparta is not going to stop in the public square and make sure the missus is on board with this. Now, Spartan women were actually a lot better off than women in the rest of Greece because they were running shit when the guys were off because the men were usually at war or in the barracks at least. So Spartan women had a lot more independence than other Greek women.
Read a book called Gates of Fire.
I've read Gates of Fire.
No
I fucking
shit.
love that book.
Fucking A, man, right on.
And I was really glad for the silver foil cover because I lost it at work. And I was like, well, shit, I'm going to have to, find it somewhere and get it. It turns out I had left it somewhere and it got put in Reshop. But I saw it in a Reshop cart, like across,
because it was shiny. It was like glittering to you from across.
Exactly. And I'm like, oh, it's my book.
We deviated again. They're fighting.
So they're fighting. And
Who wins? What happens?
Well, you've seen in the trailer where Bucky with the metal arm is trying to dig into Stark's suit and get at the reactor.
I think maybe not ringing a bell.
And then Stark unleashes the Omega Beam and like incinerates Bucky's metal arm. Like it's gone. Like right under the shoulder. And so Bucky's like, oh, fuck, I got no arm. And then Cap dives in again. And
it's got to piss him off.
Oh, yeah. Well, Cap, just dives in because he sees what Bucky's doing. And, wait, where is it? Hang on. One second. And they
Are you filling the jar back up?
And they fucking do this. That shot is in the flick.
Wow.
It's reflected.
What issue is that?
This is issue 7 of Civil War.
How many issues did it go?
7.
Oh,
That right there. That shot is in the movie, and
that is called the money shot.
that is the money shot. And so, oh, if anyone wants to buy issue 1 through 7 of Civil War, let me know. I'm looking to sell some comics.
You should
But
autograph them.
I'm not autographed.
I mean, fucking autograph them. You don't know what's going to happen.
Very true. But so Cap gets the upper hand, and he, very much like in the comic, he smashes the faceplate off of Tony, and Tony's on the ground, and Cap.
No way, just like in the comics.
He takes the shield in 2 hands, he brings it up, and both Tony and the audience are thinking, "Holy shit, is he gonna fucking bash Tony's face in?" But he drives it down onto the arc reactor. He destroys the reactor in Iron Man's suit, which nullifies Iron Man. Fight's over. So that's how it ends. And Cap grabs Bucky, and they leave because Tony is kind of immobilized for a time. And so they get away. And then oh shit, God, there's so much I left out. Because you've seen where War Machine plunges to the earth at the end of the airport fight, right?
Assume I have.
Okay. So anyway, towards the end of the airport fight, War Machine gets taken out, and he's completely depowered, and he just smashes into the ground. Iron Man and Falcon are both trying to get to him, but they don't, and he just goes full tilt boogie right into the ground, and he's really fucked up. And I was starting to think, oh shit. I'm like, are they going to kill Jim Rhodes? Are they? Because if there's one flaw to the Marvel Universe, it's that there are no stakes. There are several characters that have looked like they were dead, but then they rapidly come back. And I thought,
that's money. You can't kill off money.
yeah, I understand.
Unless you're fucking DC and you kill the Joker every chance you have, morons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
different conversation.
But they, I don't want any of these characters to go away, but I'm starting to think, you gotta kill someone. Well, anyway, what they do here, there are at least consequences. Jim Rhodes is seriously fucked up. Jim Rhodes is paralyzed. His spot, Tony runs through the list after they get him to the hospital. He shattered L4 through L whatever, lacerated spinal column, and
but Tony can just build him a suit. So,
well, and it's kind of similar because in the Iron Man comic, Tony was paralyzed for a long time.
I remember that. Yeah,
and he didn't want to stop being Iron Man. Because in the Iron Man suit, it's controlled by his mind, so he could walk around. When he's Tony, he's in a wheelchair. But then, okay, so Cap gets away with Bucky, and then we see Tony. And then they cut to a shot of the Avengers compound, and the Vision is sitting there by himself because he's like the only one in the room, and he's got this chess set, but no one to play with. And then we see Tony and Rhodes are also there, and Rhodes has basically the bottom half of a suit, like Tony Stark legs he made for him. He made these legs so he could walk around, and they're doing physical therapy. Mm-hmm. And while they're doing it, Tony gets a package, and he opens it, and it's a letter from Steve and a cell phone, just a burner phone.
Yeah, burner.
And it's a letter from Steve saying, "Look, I'm sorry I didn't tell you about your parents," because Steve knew. He knew that the Starks were murdered. He didn't know it was Bucky. And that's the best part about this movie, and why that S word that you hate so much almost doesn't even apply, because the whole movie, you see everything coming, but not in a way where it's bad and you qualify it as predictable. This, you see everything coming, and it just incites a feeling of dread.
Mr. Cho, let me explain something to you, and this pretty much has held true as long as we've known each other. You see this shit coming. Not everybody sees that shit coming. There's a fucking difference.
Okay, okay, but anyway, for me at least, I saw this stuff coming, but it wasn't predictable. It just made me feel dread. It just made me go, "Oh no, 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 no! This is gonna happen! Yeah, it fucking happened!
The
Oh,
milk falling
shit."
off the table, and he's just like, I can just see the milk falling.
Exactly. It's in slow motion. Because the second we see that car crash, I turn to my friend Justin. I'm like, "Oh my god, did he just fucking kill Howard Stark?" And he's like, "Yeah, it looks like it. Looks like that's what happened." So that's
And so that's great. So I mean, there's so much going on in this movie. You just can't fucking describe all of it. Other than, okay, I can give you like the frosting and what kind of cake it is, but I can't get into the chewy nougat center of this thing. You kind of did, but there's so much surrounding it. When you eat a Snickers bar, it's like, well, there's some nuts in there, but the nuts really aren't the thing, but they complement everything else.
Yep.
Wow. I've got some notes here. We're going to have to fucking, I'm telling you, dude, the next time we record, there's going to be possibly heated conversations.
Yeah. I can tell you my feelings about the Watchmen movie aren't all bad, but we can talk Watchmen next time.
That's one of the things.
I actually have the director's cut Blu-ray. I haven't watched it yet. With that Inside the Thing hosted by
where he stops a movie and goes, okay, here's what happened.
I haven't watched it. Now I don't know if I'm going to be able to.
Holy fuck, dude! Like when you're watching that, you can stop that and go into other stuff. It took me 3.5 hours. It's fucking great. It's really fucking good.
Although, you see, because I'm in the camp. You shouldn't have tried. You shouldn't have even tried to turn Watchmen into even a 3-hour movie. There's just you can't do that. You can't do that story justice.
Watch that fucking thing, man. He fucking breaks it all down. I think he does.
I don't care what the fuck he breaks down. It shouldn't have been tried.
Break your fucking face.
Hang on. That being said, since we were going to get a Watchmen movie, I'm glad we got Zack Snyder's Watchmen movie. Because I've heard some of the shit the studio wanted to do, and that would have been just wrong.
Put a giant spider at the end of it. John Peters, fuck you.
Spiders are the most fearsome predator on the planet.
Polar bears are the fiercest predator in it.
And I saw Wild Wild West, and there's a giant mechanical fucking spider.
But let's end this on one more real quick note. I haven't seen the trailer.
Okay.
I was looking it up and I got sidetracked because shiny Preacher. You finally read Preacher.
I did.
Have you seen the trailer?
I have.
And a real quick Leonard show, up or down?
Oh God, no, Ken! I can't believe you fell for this.
What?
That's not real. That is a fucking April Fool's prank gone right. No, they did not make a Preacher TV show with Howard Stark as Jesse Custer, who's like a foot shorter than he should be.
I don't know anything about it. I just heard they're making a fucking. They were fucking with us the whole time.
No, it's not real. That can't possibly be real.
Get the hell out of here.
They didn't change Tulip's face.
It's not that hard to do.
You didn't get duped. It's just, this is me saying I'm not down with it. I'm not. Cool. I mean,
all right.
Shit, Dominic something plays.
I've had people pull the wool over my eyes and had real quick wool over the eye story. Jay was over here one night and I had rocks for some reason, like river rocks, and he was banging them together. I'm like, what the fuck you doing, man? He goes, I'm trying to magnetize one. Like, what? He goes, what's how magnets are made? You get rocks and you bang them together. No, I didn't have the rocks here, but he was talking about that. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. He goes, yeah, and I have river rocks out by my apartment. I mean, he's picking them up. He goes, yeah, okay, I think these ones are good, and he's banging them. I'm like, I always wondered how they made magnets. He's like, you were so fucking stupid.
Hello, Jay. Jay's awesome.
Oh, God, I was so drunk that night.
How do you make magnets?
I don't know. Someone could probably tell us, or we could just use the Google. But anyway, you're not down with Preacher, but definitely, it's not civil rights. It's not civil wrongs. It's not civil rights. It's not civil war. It's not civil wrongs. It is civil rights. It's the movie.
It is civil oh so rights.
Right on. Well, I'm
Oh,
going to
they
end
did.
it here
They did me good.
real quick. We do an hour and 24 minutes. So this is a little
Oh
extra,
wow.
but it's called Leonard Show Speaks for a reason. All right, brother, love you, and we got to figure out a sign off.
And thanks for stopping by.
That'll work.